Good day, everybody. Brian here from QuantLabs.net. Just wanted to go over with you the um, number of options with Motivewave. I've been working with now Motivewave quite a bit, probably 2 weeks now. Um, just wanted to go over how I'm using it, what I'm looking at, and my thoughts on a few other things. Okay. What you are going to look at is if you are interested in these type of topics, come on over to the quantlab.net book page here, quantlabs.net/book. Sign up, fill all your wonderful info. Very simple. Get on our mailing list. Okay, so let's continue with this. Okay, so you can see here in the bottom right, I'm using Mac. Um, I'm using a Mac, 2 instances running of Motivewave, one for crypto, one for Forex with Oanda. I'm not a big fan of Oanda. Well, be it, I'm not a big fan of Forex, period. But anyways, that's beside the point. Also, just wanted to make sure that you are aware of the video playlist that I have on the my YouTube channel at Quant Labs. In there, you'll find one on Motivewave, and that is becoming more important to me to introduce people to understand. Right here, 42 videos, and you can always go through those for a variety of things. I'm just using now Motivewave to leverage my uses of Motivewave, and I'm going to talk about some of the analysis that I'm it's more like playing around with right now, but I'm seeing a lot of potential with Motivewave. And as I said, we have two environments running of Motivewave. We have one for Forex and one for crypto. I think crypto will be the easiest one to show you. Right now, I've created a watch list in my Binance for Binance. Originally, it was around 90 plus pairs. It's using crypto compare or coin compare. You can't trade with crypto, but I have methodologies that I'll be implementing in the next couple of days to trade, do live trades with crypto, but use Motivewave for the analysis. So let's get started at that. So here I like doing scans with the Motivewave. I find that's a really useful feature to kind of like do a screening process. So what I've got here is I've got my scanner set up. I can also got my watch list set up with the same. Um, looks like my Motivewave is going to die here. So this gives me a snapshot of what's moving in the markets. You can see here I've got 33 instruments available. Some of them are in USD, some of them are in Bitcoin, some of them are in Euro, and so on. But I'm still trimming out some of these. So I'm always after the movers. So here we have Litecoin, Bitcoin. Looks like XEM is up. So these are moving pretty good. Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and so on. So what we're going to look at, let me first show you the ones I did yesterday. A couple things. First, I've been playing around with Ichimoku Cloud or whatever. A lot of people seem to like that choice of as an indicator or as a study. I can show you that right here. So this is yesterday's call. So if we could call up Ichimoku Kinko Hyo. Sorry, it's all Japanese. I'm not very good at that, obviously. I just use defaults, but this is what I like about it. This will give you a general trend of what's available in the outlook. One thing I did put a video out yesterday on with these wicks. Depending upon your time frame, if you see too many of these wicks, that's a way of saying there's too much volatility in this pair. This is a 15-minute view right now. If I go to a 1 hour, it's still pretty extreme, and 1 day. Okay, so to do the scans on the harmonics, typically, let me just pull up the scans because I haven't processed it yet. So this is the watch list. Then I go into the scan, which I've set up. I've set up a Binance Harmonic scan. I could start that. So I'll scan all 33 pairs. That's going to give me a projection of what looks good, what doesn't look good. So going back to the other chart that I had with the Ichimoku cloud, whatever, the best thing to do that's wrong is strongly recommended to do your harmonics at no less than 4 hours. So I do a 4-hour scan, and here you can see in the Ichimoku, this is really good because this is one of the best studies I found so far on Motivewave. Is it gives you the signal here on the buy and the sell. Historically, it looks pretty good. The reason I would say I would have gone with the Bollinger Bandwidth. The only problem I have with the Bollinger Bandwidth is there is no signal, and the data you get changes. So here, if I look at the study as an example, let me just pull up reload this study, and I'll show you what I mean. Let me just go back in the study menu here. This is way easier. Okay, a couple of things you want to look for, and I'll talk about programming as well. See here, we have our defaults, we have our advanced. So if you follow me in my programming with the SDK, the software development kit with Motivewave, it will show you how to set up this user profile or this user dialog for all this stuff. Now, the important thing here from a programming perspective, if you are going to customize your own indicator or study, is you got to understand we're going to be dealing with signals. So here we have various signals here where we know we have an up marker or a down marker, which is your sell or buy or long short, however you want to define it. Plus here we have the ability to do alerts, play sound, and email out your alert. Okay, that's an important step. Also in here we can do some other things as well on the charting. This is standard, the general standard. The signal is the key to it all. But when you compare this to Bollinger Bandwidth, the response is always different for each pair or each instrument. So it's very difficult to be able to normalize it across or make it relative across different instruments. And it works, but this one seems to be better as well, the Ichimoku. So this is part of this process that I'm kind of looking at. So as I said, we've done our scan, and that's a scan on Harmonic. So what I look for here in the scores, I look for excellent ratings, only excellent. So here we have 2 ratings that look really good, or actually there's 5. So in here, what we have here is we have EOS, Bitcoin, Litecoin, USD, all these different ones. So we have 5. So the first one I'm going to look at is this one. And I thought you could pull up a chart for this. I'm sure maybe there is a capability to bring it up from the scan. That's okay. I'll go into the charts. So the first one I'm going to look at is EOS Bitcoin. I'll show you what I look for. So actually, I can do it from scan here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a chart here for EOS Bitcoin. Okay. Now I could do I'm going to look at a 15-minute analysis. Okay, just leave it at that. Okay, and you can see here this is not looking good. If we had a short, this may be a short opportunity. So screw that. And that's a harmonic pattern being formed, but on the downside. The reason I say that is because with Binance, you can only long only. I think you can do shorting, but there's some wonky margin call stuff you got to do, and who's got time for that, right? So here we go. Here's our big move here. Again, this is a 15-minute, so you can see why this is doing well. It is moving up. If you look at the 1 hour, that's doing pretty good. So the next thing I probably would do is apply the um, Ichimuchu on that and see what it tells you. So again, I can customize these templates. I'm not there yet, but you can see by looking at this, you got green all the way up. So chances are that this will continue. Now there was a way in the scan here. There was a way to see these charts from a large view. I can show you that here. I forgot about this. So here I'm just going to pull up this layout. So here looks like we lost our. So I'll do another scan here. Binance Harmonic is the name. So we have, it doesn't take long. That's the other thing you got to worry about is you want to have as few instruments as possible on the scans to make these scans fairly quick. And then manually look at these. I'm sure there's going to be a way to further drill down these this type of analysis. So we'll go underscore here. Again, only looking at excellent. So right now we've got Litecoin, which we just talked about. Boom, boom, boom. The BNB is still pretty good. So here you can see the Harmonics is talking about. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really care about the logistics and the mechanics of these particular Harmonics. The reason being is all we care about is just the target price in this purple. There should be a D point here somewhere, but what we're looking for is the target on where it thinks it's going to go. So historically, I don't think it'll move much on the BNB Ethereum. So but it's a long moving up target. So I would consider that to look at that. Again, same thing with Litecoin against USD. How about Cardano? So right here you can see that it's targeting down, so we lose interest there. We have here Monero against Bitcoin. So here it's pointing up, but here's the problem. I don't like Monero. It's just it moves around too much. Again, if you watch that video on the extreme wicks, these wicks are not, these extreme wicks are somewhat there, but it's more stable in terms of the price moves. So this is tradable, but just the overall trading patterns of Monero against Bitcoin, it's a weird coin to trade. But it can't. A couple of days ago, it did move right in the right way. And again, one way to check on that is the Ichimoku. I probably got the pronunciation wrong. All we care about is just what is it telling you. So it does have some positive outlook. One other thing I'm kind of playing with as well, we know all about machine learning and stuff. The one that keeps coming up and everyone's going back to is regression. So I started playing with some of the studies that come with Motivewave out of box for regression. The only one that seems to kind of work out of the lot is this one. So again, here, when you're looking at studies, you want to make sure it overlays on top of the chart. And the real important one is to generate a signal. So if it generates a signal, just go with that. Don't go with these ones that say there's no signal. You'd be kind of wasting your time otherwise. But let me show you the regression channel here. And again, just use the defaults for now. But again, you can see that there's signals that can be played. And this one gives you if the price moves above the top or below. So there's many options here. So here you could see that this might be kind of useful. I would ignore these markers, but you can see here if the price breaks below the lower regression, That means potentially no different than a Bollinger, but this is pretty good because obviously it's oscillating in this channel, um, and there is opportunity here depending upon the price discrepancy. But I mean, if you look at here, that's what it's been doing. Here, it's doing it here as well. So the regression channel is something I'm starting to dig. Another one I can't really say a whole lot on, but the other one, the regression is, let me just show you the regression curve. So regression channel I'm liking. This is the curve. I'm not sure if this is as useful as a channel. Okay. Yeah, see, it doesn't do a whole lot. Yeah, so to me that's of no use. But these are the two indicators I'm kind of playing with right now. Generally, I don't think Motivewaves is slow, but just to understand this Mac I'm running on is a total of 4 meg, and I've got 2 instances of Motivewave on top of the recording as well. So I would expect it to be sort of slow. So that's kind of like what I do for now. Is do a scan using Harmonics as the first wave to filter out and look for the best opportunities. So again, there were some good movers here in the watch list. You can see here, Bitcoin's up. Bitcoin's really up. Wow, Bitcoin USD, Bitcoin Cash are all doing up, are going up. So again, you can see here that the exchanges are going to be different, but obviously there's some good moves here. I mean, they are piling in quite a bit. So one other indicator I'm going to use is or scanning is using Elliott waves as well. They seem to be really popular. So let's hop on over to the Forex. So here we're now looking at Forex. So again, this is the second instant of Motivewave running. Just so you know, Motivewave enables you to run as many instances of Motivewave you want on one system with one license. So that means if you're wanting to do it, you'd probably need to obviously get a desktop laptop with a lot of memory to be able to run however many you want at one time. I've experimented with multiple workspaces as well. You can do it. For instance, I have a workspace with, this one's purely Oanda only for Forex. But you can run, let's say, IKEFeed as your data provider for the Forex data, as well as you can use Oanda as your broker to execute with. So you can run that in multiple in one workspace as well. You could work with multiple workspaces all in one environment. I don't see what the deal is with that. But let me stop right here before I move on to just doing a quick analysis with Forex. If you're starting new with a tiny account, less than $5,000, tiny accounts are, I hate to say it, less than $5,000. If you're brand new, I would recommend you either focus on crypto or Forex to start with. If you are planning to move forward with something like Motivewave, just understand if you do crypto, you will get CoinCompare as your data provider, but you can still use that and then execute trades through a solution that I'll be putting out for my members, for my elite members, for a Python connection using a study that will get pushed into Redis, and then from there have a Python listener listening for those calls or notifications via Python. So there's that if you plan to go with crypto. If you plan to go with Forex, the nice thing is you can trade within Motivewave and have everything traded or executed through Motivewave, which is really good. So it's less programming. And the other thing is that's that. Now, one of the beautiful things I like about Motivewave is I believe in what the original prospect of Java was: write once, deploy anywhere. But it's here with something like Motivewave because it talks to so many brokers and data providers, which gives you multiple different asset classes to trade with one solution. So, for instance, with Motivewave, you could trade crypto, forex, futures, options, stock, whatever else I'm missing, but you can trade it all within Motivewave. So that means you can work on a workflow as I'm doing now in this video. And once I'm comfortable with the process, then I can use that and just deploy everything in one trading platform. So that's the nice thing about Motivewave, because I'm not pigeonholed to, for instance, one trading platform for a broker or a trading platform like MetaTrader, where you're only stuck in the world of either CFD or stock. So with Motivewave, you eliminate all that. So if you go with a good broker like Interactive Brokers that talks to anything and everything in any asset class, Motivewave is a great platform for that. I'm not there yet. So I've come back to using Forex and crypto if you're starting with nothing. So you can still play around with Motivewave and all the studies and all the other stuff that comes with Motivewave if you go with the higher priced Ultimate Edition. So that means then that will give you a lot of options, and it's not going to bottleneck you if you decide to go after bigger instruments, or sorry, asset class like futures and options, which I plan to do. And the broker I want to work with is Interactive Brokers. So, but the beautiful thing is I'm not needing to switch out to a new platform because I can use Motivewave for that. So that's the brilliant thing about Motivewave. But yet I can get my feet wet and develop and grow an account or multiple accounts of crypto and Forex, and not have to change the platform to move into options or Forex, or sorry, options or futures. So that's why this process is a really important strategy to leverage off of. So here we are in Forex. So again, this is from yesterday's analysis. I have, let me just check the watch list here again. If you're using something like Oanda, it's much easier. Here we go. So these are the movers right now. You can tell Bitcoin, oil, Brent crude, sugar, XCU, which I believe, I can't remember if that's platinum, silver, pound against the yen, pound against the franc. So these are the movers right now over 1%. Where you can see what I like about crypto, you got more movers higher movers in crypto, but the thing is that how often does that happen? That's part of the problem. So this is where we're at. So again, I can try to use my original concept of using a scanning process, just basic harmonics. I'm only looking for the longs, so make sure it looks like I don't have the right layout here. Yeah, here. So we want to make sure we can include the chart here. So, okay. There's some limitations between the scanning and the study, hopefully that sort of thing will get worked out in the long run. And if they do get that, that's going to make Motivewave a much better platform to work with. There's still some links between certain major pieces of the platform that you cannot link together. So one big one is the ability to, just have a general strategy, have a screening process, and add instruments within that strategy and just watch those strategies. So there's no access to things like that. So that is a weakness, I guess you could call it, within the API of Motivewave, but hopefully they'll get to that point. So here we are looking at different options here. So here again, what we're looking for, and again, I'm only looking at the excellent harmonics. So we have here Australia USD. The move is up. You can see the move that's happened November 29th. We also have here, looks like a target down. So obviously the nice thing about Forex is you can short if you want it. So there is that, and leverage is another one. This one's been trading quite nicely. As you can see here, you missed these moves on the 1st of December, coming down, but the target is there. And the only two ones I'm interested in right now is Australia US dollar, Australia Canada, because I'm only interested in longing. Another way to know if your harmonics are screaming at you, you have two different harmonics. Even in the world of Python was the same, where if you get two harmonics, excellent rating for the same pair, that tells you that something's definitely going on in terms of that pair working. So you have here two excellent ratings for Australia, Canada. So you got a Gartley and a deep crab here. So we'll check out that in a minute. Here's the CFD, the US 30. It's pointing up. It is going up, but if you want to trade a CFD, don't let me stop you. Again, here we have, oddly enough, an excellent rating for Australia, Canada, but you can see here, higher price target, but yeah, we had this big negative bar down, so I wouldn't want to trade that. What else we got here? We have, now these two, I'm going to just check them out. Yeah, so this is no good either because it's moving down. So, yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. But the two I'm interested in is Australia, US dollar. So let me expand that. Okay, so here's the harmonics. As I said, I really don't care about the harmonic. All I really care about is this point D. This is the target that it's shooting for. And when you look at that, that's saying, yeah, this is possible. When you look at the 1 hour view as well, it's moving up. So it's moving up towards that. Now, how does that measure? Let me pull up the hourly for that good old Ichimoku. Sorry about the pronunciation. But here, again, it's the same signal, same process, same workflow that I'm looking at. We got some strong green here moving up. It may look like it's going to taper out. Okay. When you look at the regression channel, let me just pull up, where am I pulling here? Regression. I'll just do this. Gotta get used to the hotkeys as well. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the other one, the channel for regression. Oh, see, it's broken through the upper band, and that may obviously turn up, but by looking at the Ichimoku, come on, this one here, judging from the outlook here, it's going to weaken. So this would have been a great time to have gone in at some point. So this started at 3 o'clock in the morning. Here this was 22:10. So these are after hours to me. Now, a couple of things we can do for this is obviously to set up alerts. I've talked about the alerts in the playlist there if you go through that. So that's one option. And as I said, we're just playing around right now. There's these two big opportunities that have been missed, but that's okay for now. But let's check out the good old Australia, Canada. You can see this massive move here. It's come down. is this a strong, only the good old Ichimoku can tell you that. And once again, remember, I can always apply templates to not have to go through reloading this. I'm just not at that point yet. So here we go. So it's expecting a down move, and then it will start to move up. Now, there's a couple of ways to play this. Is to only apply this strategy, and only when you get this little guy right here, that marker up. That's obviously a potential entry. There's a number of other indicators I played with. A good one right now is combining this with RSI. I just like RSI for one thing. Let's just pull up RSI. Bob, where are you? Okay, let me just do this. Look for it. RSI. This one I've run. That's my custom one I made last week. But I'm just using the standard RSI. And obviously, we get signals from here. Now, to confirm a potential entry, to make sure it's strong enough for it to be, obviously, to move up, one simple way is to make sure, here, you can see right here, this was a good entry once the RSI hit the cross that 50 mark. So remember, this is a 4-hour chart, so we can either look at the 1 hour. Let's see here, it caught that entry here, but right here would have been good too. So we still gotta figure that out. But if you were to use the Bollinger band width, which I kind of like. Where are you? So Bollinger bandwidth right here. Okay, let's do a default. So about right here on this entry, that would have been a good one for an entry. This would be not hard to automate if it was for a particular instrument, but the RSI is really the trigger for the entry on the 50. Once it crosses that 50, that's a good indicator. But here, this Ichimoku is good for direction as well, and you can see that already the Harmonic has exceeded its target. So it did its job in this case. So that's pretty well it. Now, these are just some of the examples I'm showing you, different indicator studies, whatever. And also we have here, I've not even really talked about, are the components. You can generate component studies from that, or sorry, component alerts from this. So obviously trend line's a very popular one. Fibonacci is another one that's in there as well. So they exist. So you have Fibonacci, again, Elliott wave markers, and harmonics. But again, I like doing the scans with the harmonics. Another option you have with the harmonics is harmonic studies. There's some Fibonacci studies, but why bother when you can use the scans as well? So there's a lot of tools here to play with. So that brings me to another topic that I think is very important, is programming. So there's so many tools out there for you to look at. From a programming perspective, I've challenged a couple of people to bring me their algorithms for me to look at and evaluate. So this is where I got stuck on Motivewave. This is about a month ago, 2 months ago, and I was able to go through a lot of the trading rules that were typed up. A lot of detail was put into it, and there's not one indicator that was typed up in these algos that Motivewave did not have out of box. And other platforms have those indicators, but you got to get nickel and dimed to get those studies or indicators. Here with Motivewave, they're all out of box because you have 275 plus indicate or studies or indicators, and not only that, but you have the components as well. So I was not, it was not hard. It was really a no brainer to be able to build these algos out of box with Motivewave. And that got me thinking, is like, why would I spend all the time in the world to develop strategies via coding or programming? And I'll tell you, for the years that I've been doing it, over time, there's not been any other advanced platform out there that was available to retail traders, individual traders, independent traders, or whatnot, because they just weren't as sophisticated at all. Whereas there was another platform I knew of, but that was really for institutional. But they were only asking 15,000, not $15,000 per year, $15,000 per month. It's a high frequency platform called Deltix, but that was the only platform of this level what Motivewave gives you. With Motivewave, you get so many studies, you get source code of the studies, and because I started seeing this, it was like, oh man, like this changes everything. This is a game changer in so many ways. As with what I just talked about with the data providers and the brokers and all the advantages that brings. Because they bring out and make available the source code for the studies, all in Java, integrated with the software development kit, it got me thinking, do I really need to do any further coding? And my answer is sort of yes, but I'm now moving into the mentality of, if I don't need to program it, and I can do it visually through point and click or whatever through Motivewave, I see no reason to need to program any further. I mean, you spend a good amount of pennies on the Ultimate Edition, but for what it will save you on the coding end, as well as the mistake end and the back testing and all that fun stuff, Motivewave eliminates about 90% of that. So instead of you going down rabbit holes on this trading idea or that trading idea or that algo, this algo that you get off online, you can visually kind of develop it through Motivewave. And again, up until version 6, there was nothing else available out there that enabled this. But because things got so sophisticated, I'm trying now to get into the mindset of not needing to program it. Or I've done some custom expert advisors with MetaTrader, which I don't really use anymore. But the experience was much, much better because I was hiring a coder out of East Europe that was probably 100 times better than I could ever be, and it wasn't very expensive. So my theory is, hang on here. My theory is going into 2020 is to hire coders as much as possible. The thing is, there are not a lot of Motivewave coders out there. I could be one and make a business out of it and do consulting. For me, that's not where the real revenue, the easy revenue, is not in that. The easy revenue is doing exactly this, educating people on trading and getting their own algos and trading ideas into Motivewave. And Motivewave sells itself. Like, there's no hands down. I don't even need to push Motivewave. People see the value of Motivewave and the power of Motivewave. So it's an easy sell. It sells itself. It's that good. But as it stands right now, because of what Motivewave has introduced to me, I don't need to code. And if I want to code, if I can find more coders going into 2020 that can code up stuff in Motivewave, my life will be much easier. And affordable coders. For instance, I could get coders for $25 an hour, and they're really good. And my guy was out of Belarus, and he was awesome. He said he would do done in 5 days, and it was not very expensive. But again, that was for MetaTrader. But if I can find the same equivalent for Motivewave plus the Java, and just use a good coder, I think I'll be set. Obviously, there's certain things that I'm looking to do. For instance, like I said, with crypto currency being able to trade, I could easily write up my own my own solution with that, with already what I know, what I've introduced, what I've already put up for my Quant Elite folks. Um, and the programming's already done in that. So the coding is like, I don't have to emphasize so much on coding because you have the ability to connect into third party libraries via Java. The big one for me is obviously Redis, because Redis can be and will be hopefully my data hub for a lot of data, and then leverage off of Redis and then build Python listeners for the data in Redis, because not only do you use Redis for database or data store is the right way, but you can also use Redis as a message queue, and it's free and it's true open source. So there is that where I can use that technology and now still build out and leverage machine learning. Oh, and that's just one option. Also, if I wanted to do something like TensorFlow too, I do know that is natively supported by in Java as well. So I have that advantage with the SDK with Motivewave, because I'm able to embed Java jar files into my own strategies and still be able to run and call all that data within Motivewave. And I will tell you that is pretty powerful. But again, can I build it myself? Sure. Can I do it in Python? Sure. But I have to connect it with Python. So there's a lot of excitement here. But moving into 2020, I think the big thing I want you to take away is I don't want to program anymore. I don't want to code myself. If it's simple, I'll do it, or I'll get it custom coded by somebody on the affordable side. Um, and that's pretty well what I wanted to address today in this video, focusing more on the trading ideas and implementing them, but implementing as much as possible in Motivewave and not needing to step outside of Motivewave. Because here, as I said, we've got the watch list. We've got, if it can respond, please. Guess it's, yeah, so there we got that. If you have not seen my video on the optimize, so this is really powerful. As I said, there's a weakness to some weaknesses in Motivewave where with this type of facility to do a walk for or a back test, and I'll tell you, I cringed at having to code up a back test. I just despise the idea of it. But now that I see the power of back testing and the need of it, that's fantastic. But here I can do it quite easily and setting it up, and then, but I can only do it with strategies. So I have to take a study, turn it into a strategy, and then run a back test. So this is part of the weakness I'm finding with Motivewave, because I don't see a reason why, because in Motivewave you can set up a study to do trading, and to me I don't, maybe I'm too early into the game here, but I don't see the difference between a strategy and a study if the study has a signal and you can trade on the study, why you cannot hook up that study into the back test or walk forward process. Because if you can do that, I'll tell you, this will make just this one feature alone is worth thousands of dollars, and do it very quickly. So if you have not seen the ability to do this, you can see here I've run a back test on whatever this is on Forex, and I can see where the potential of this strategy would be. So for instance, this is probably an RSI. I know if I was to use the concept of doing a scan and put my money into that instrument for the day, I might get a little bit of money. But if I only focus on one instrument for a period of time for this particular strategy, I would get a lot of money. And I can just focus on maybe one or two instruments for this particular strategy that will give me a absolute return. So for instance, in Forex, if I do a back test on a particular strategy, it's going to rate me potentially $1,000 or thousands of dollars. I run one back test and it was going to return millions of dollars on $100,000 investment. I mean, you think uh, I would be dreaming that, but apparently I'm not. So knowing that and knowing which instruments to put or deploy capital on that instrument for that strategy for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, I could do a walk for and be able to see those potential returns. That is very, 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 very powerful. Instead of wasting my time on ideas and trying to code it up and pulling it out of my ass and guessing, and then on the same time trying to code it up to get it to fit a back test. Here I can do it all in Motivewave quite quickly. The only challenge is trying to figure out how to go from a study to a strategy and then do the back test or forward test. So this is another major feature of Motivewave. Now, one last thing I've not talked about, which makes even Motivewave so highly advantageous, is the volume and order flow. So, for instance, if you go into my playlist, I have a video on it. It's beyond powerful. It's just I don't even know where to begin with it, but I do have a video demo of it from the guide that Motivewave to put out in here somewhere. Let's see. It's called Awesome something or other. But
I've been a volunteer with Ronald McDonald House since staying with my son 7 years ago.
okay.
It's a place where we help families with seriously ill children.
Sorry about that. Okay.
I'm just here, with my friends at Google, and together we're trying to make the holidays a little bit easier for the families living here.
I'll just go into my Motivewave video, or look for Motivewave playlist, look for that video. But the order flow and volume is just mind-blowingly good for what you're paying. It's unbeatable. No other platform has that. Okay, so, and all in all, things will be changing radically. And I'm not also, there's so much to, I'm going to tell you, Motivewave is a beast with so many features. In here, I could, for instance, chart and save this analysis and make it available instantly to my members. So if you're not aware, as of yesterday, I will be separating out my analytics membership to my elite, which are two separate memberships now. People are asking, well, if I'm a current elite member, will that affect my analytics? No, you'll have access to everything as promised. It's just as of yesterday. If you join as of yesterday and moving forward, these are two separate memberships. So one of the big advantages with Motivewave is for the analytics folks, I will be able to do numerous things to make this membership highly, highly valuable. So here I can export my analysis. I can also, not only that, but back up my entire Motivewave and make it available to my members that you download, and then you're off to the races. You can do exactly what you're seeing here and be able to work from that. The other thing is there's also key under here called repository, and what this does, this enables me to do the same thing, to take exactly this and make it available on something like Dropbox, push publish, and as long as you have access to that, you will have instant access in real time to what I'm talking about in real time. That is unbelievable. And that's what will make my analytics service really, really valuable, because very few call it educators will be able to provide that for you. Plus, I've got my private chat server as well. People are getting really excited by all of this, but people don't know the power of this entire Motivewave and what it can do to change your programming world or your trading world or both. It's an amazing platform. As I said, yes, there are some weaknesses, and I think over time they will start to, as people say, yeah, that makes sense. I want that on a future playlist or feature list, and eventually maybe, just maybe, it may get added into Motivewave. The other thing, there's always workarounds with it, but as I said, I'd like to keep everything within Motivewave as much as possible. So, as I said, this is beyond exciting for me. I think it's going to be exciting for those that took advantage of the Motivewave deal on the weekend for Black Friday. I think it's going to be really exciting for those elite folks that took advantage of everything on the Black Friday as well. And I'm just slowly rolling out the trading ideas. And that's why I've got this trading workflow ideas and what works, what doesn't work. But when you get the excitement, what I'm seeing here in crypto, these kind of moves here, 4.77. You got 6 pairs. I'll just say a lot of pairs moving right now at 3 plus. I don't know how updated that is, but this is the sort of thing that really excites me about trading and virtually can change your life if you follow suit. So if you want to get in, there's a couple of options I can tell you about. As I said, just go over to quantlabs.net/book, or you can go to the site, and if you're interested in any of this stuff, just go over to the Quant Labs store, which are taking to my Shopify store, which I just reactivated a couple of weeks ago, and that will enable you to get set up with any of the stuff that I've got. The top 3 are right here. The Quant Elite I've already mentioned for programming only. The Python, this is a fairly cheap course for setting up how to show you customize your own bots in Python. So that's really for cryptocurrency, but I've also got another added workshop for the same for Forex with a win as well. And then of course there's the analytics, which will radically change in the next few weeks, and that's going to be very expensive. So this is $297 right now. It's for 3 months. So if you're interested in any of this, join now. I've done some market analysis for the analysis part. People are charging up to $250 for the capabilities with Motivewave, and some are charging as much as $20,000 for something similar with less subpar NinjaTrader or Sterling or something else. But I guarantee you, Motivewave will blow those platforms out of the doors. Because I've talked about TradeStation and the other one, MetaTrader, with their cryptic programming languages that I just don't want to learn. I'm okay with, I know Python, so I'm okay with that for the software development kit with Motivewave. So there's a lot of stuff happening. I'm just showing you my trading ideas here and my thoughts, and being able to take your trading ideas and deploy them into actual trading something or other. So right now, that's what we're looking at. I'm not going to worry about these missed opportunities right now. But I will tell you, everything's ready to go once we get live trading with the crypto, which is the first piece of it, with signals, because when we will push those out, and be able to sync those up with orders through the Python piece that I built. Can work over the last couple of weeks. So you can be able to trade from Motivewave via this Python and Redis. Other than that, pretty exciting stuff. Other than that, I'm going to shut up now. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you get some use out of this video. And if you've got any questions or comments, comment via social media, or just email me or whatnot. All right, we shall talk to you later. Thanks again for watching, and have yourselves a good day. Later.